Hello, my name is Les Jameson. I'm a big supporter and participant with the efforts of the Lawyers Committee for 9/11 Truth. We want to welcome everybody to witness this historic press conference. This is the culmination of many, many years of hard work of researchers and activists, all involved in a quest for the true explanation and full spectrum analysis and exposing of all the evidence of the events of 9/11. And this is also more specifically a culmination of 3 years of hard work and research and strategizing by a team of lawyers called the Lawyers Committee for 9/11 Truth.
Inquiry.
Let me rephrase that. They are a nonprofit organization called the Lawyers Committee for 9/11 Inquiry.
Woo!
Their website, lcfor911.org. And there's a groundbreaking article on opednews.com about this event today by Andrew Craig. We will urge everybody to go to opednews.com, send 1 million people there to read the article, and then also to the website lcfor911.org. With that, I'm going to introduce two of the attorneys, and also you're going to hear from a 9/11 family member, Bob Mcilvain. And first, we're going to start off with Julio Gomez. He's on the board for the Lawyers for 9/11 Inquiry and is part of the entire process to formulate this grand jury petition.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming here today. It is a very important day. I hold in my hand a 52-page petition. This petition is backed up by 57 exhibits, ranging from forensic evidence, expert analysis, and testimony of firefighters and first responders. All of that information supports the inevitable conclusion that explosives were used at 9/11 at the World Trade Center.
Wow.
The Lawyers Committee for 9/11 Inquiry is a nonprofit organization made up of attorneys from around the country. And today we have presented with the U.S. Attorney this petition in coalition with 9/11 victim family members and with other attorneys who are basically asking the U.S. Attorney in no uncertain terms to present this information to a grand jury so that a grand jury can finally investigate the use of explosive devices at the World Trade Center on 9/11. According to federal law, 18 U.S. Code Section 3332A, every citizen of our country has the right to request that a U.S. attorney present evidence of federal crimes to a grand jury. We are exercising that right today.
Why not?
As a group, as a country, because it is time for the truth to be heard on this subject.
Amen. Yes. Amen. Amen. Amen.
If the U.S. Attorney's Office does not act, the Lawyers Committee are prepared to go to court to compel the U.S. Attorney to present this evidence to a grand jury. And I'm sure that everyone here will be there when that day comes. Yeah. Hopefully, the U.S. Attorney's Office will do the right thing. It will put integrity over expediency. It will tackle the tough issues. It will look hard at the evidence and give it the consideration it deserves. I am here surrounded by a number of supporters. We have been working very hard on this. It is available on our website for everyone to review. It is www.lcfor911.org. You can get a copy of the petition. You can get a copy of all of the exhibits. You can read it for yourself and make up your own mind. But it is time that a grand jury hear this, study it, investigate it, and finally issue indictments that we have been waiting too long for. Thank you. I'm going to turn the floor over to Bob Mcilvain.
I've been doing this since 2001. I've been in the anti-war movement. I dropped out of that because I was so frustrated. The anti-war movement didn't want anything about what happened on 9/11. It was against war, which was fine. I went to the 9/11 Commission hearings. I came out of there, and the anger I had was mind-boggling. I keep that anger. I really want to keep that anger. Oh, I think this wasn't loud enough. Oh. And it's important for me to have that emotion because that's what drives me. And I think a lot of family members have really lost that. And to come up here, to be in New York, this is where it happened. This is where my son died. It means so much to me. And it does mean a lot. My wife hates doing this. She really hates being involved in 9/11. But I'm getting emotional.
Love you, Bob.
That's it's difficult. That's why family members don't get involved. It really, really is that tough. As I was talking earlier, I was a member of Peaceful Tomorrows. It was so great. You felt good about yourself because you were anti-war. You're going to Japan, all around the world, talking about we shouldn't be using 9/11 as a war, part of the war machine. And I used to speak in colleges, high schools, because people wanted to hear that message. It was a great message. I didn't want to go to war. But then, the anti-war movement wasn't getting anywhere. So I go to all the commission hearings. And after that, I was just so angry that they're lying. It was not an investigation. It wasn't even close to an investigation. As Ben Vinny said, it was an exposition. So with that, I carry that anger. My wife doesn't want to be angry. And it's tough. I mean, you have to play both sides. You have to feel good about yourself. You want to be happy, but I don't want to lose that anger. And to come up here and do what I'm doing now, it really helps that anger to become productive. And you want to feel productive. And I really feel productive doing this. And give such credit to all the people that are doing this. And the word has to get out. And it is. I was on Ted's email or the Facebook. Every day I go on the Facebook. I did a little 6-minute film on what happened up in New York. And A&E, of course, put that on there also. Every day of the week I get on there and I see another person from another country. Practically every country in the world. Indonesia, South America, Central America, throughout Europe. So the world is recognizing what is happening. The world is ready to state that the United States committed a crime. I know we don't like to talk about who did it, but the crime happened here. And that's what, the word is getting out. And I just feel so good coming up to New York because there's just so many people that want to get involved in that. Where I live, it's a total wasteland. People don't want to talk to me. They don't want to talk about 9/11 because you got to do the work. You got to do something about it. And they just don't want to do the work. And that's very frustrating. People up here are doing the work. And that's what's so great about what's happening now. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bob.
All right.
Great job.
Yeah.
Today is a very historical moment. We had just given this document to the U.S. Attorney's Office along with the thumb drive with the exhibits. Unfortunately, the main drafter of the document, Mick Harrison, is en route, but he had problems with the plane, etc., and he will be here later today. But when you look at the document, a lot of people had input into it, but Mick was the main drafter of it. All right, so just to give him some credit, and unfortunately he's not here for this historical moment. Now, this is a long time coming, and it shouldn't have been. If the law enforcement and the prosecuting arm of the government had done their job, this would have been done 16 years ago. So when I say it's a long time coming, it's like it's the end of a certain period of time when there was total neglect, but it's the beginning of a new era. And why I say that is because now this is sort of like a counteraction. This means the people. This is a people's document. Yes. This means the people can go on the offense now.
Yes.
All right. Now, in here, there's, in sense, nothing new if you've been up on the issues over the years. But what's new is that it's been put in a legal context. And as was previously said, the U.S. Attorney has a duty, an obligation, a legal obligation to present this to the grand jury. And who is the grand jury? It's made of people like us. Yes. This is the people's document. And that's the significance of it. And it's done where the evidence is presented in a way that reads very nicely, it flows, and it's so much evidence in the sense that it's just so much common sense. It sort of like stuns you in the sense of how simple it is, and yet, and how truthful it is, and yet how it's been totally neglected. All right. So, for everyone that's here, and you've carried the torch for so long, I commend you. And for the architects and engineers, a lot of the groundwork they did not shirk their responsibility as citizens. They applied the physics, they applied the chemistry, they applied the engineering, the architectural skills to really free us as people, to allow us to be free, because they know the nuances. And even though maybe it looks like common sense in some ways, when buildings come down because of fire, they explain it scientifically and explain what the laws of physics are with gravity and things of that nature. So it was impossible that the story that the federal government gave was true. It was a fairy tale at the highest level, bought by most people because they believed unjustifiably, unfortunately, in their officials, and their elected officials deserted them. So what comes through with the investigations that were done, or with architects and engineers and with the lawyers committee, is that the evidence is there for a review by the U.S. Attorney for indictments and convictions, and it now we take the action basically to them. Now we have to remember too, this was a multifaceted crime. This did not just cover New York City, although New York City was the most sensational. There was things that happened in Washington, there was things that happened in Pennsylvania. I keep on saying there was a lot of conspiracy being planned in New Jersey. So if we can keep the lawyers committee together, there are other actions. There's freedom of information actions that we're involved with. There's open public records action we're involved with in New Jersey. There's a lot of other things we can do. So we ask everybody to support the lawyers committee. That's www.lcf4911.org, and we can hopefully have the funds to keep the action going. But again, this is a very significant day. It's a long time coming, but it's really only the beginning. And I thank you very much. I salute you, and pleasure to be here. Thank you.
We have one more speaker, Dusty Burke. She is part of a publication here called Westview News, and this is a print media that is distributed in this whole southern Manhattan district. Her audience is the population that was most closely affected physically by the fact that they are in this location. So please welcome Dusty Burke.
Aside from being with Westview News, which is an incredible small community paper, I happen to be the guardian, along with others in the West Village, of the original 9/11 memorial. It's called the 9/11 Tiles for America. And the days after 9/11, Lori Vesey, who had a little pottery shop around the corner from our hospital, St. Vincent's, where they expected everyone to come, so people were gathering there. She started making angels and doves and flags and little messages and putting them on the fence. And it grew to thousands over the years. And she worked with the Contemporary Ceramics Studios, the CCSA, and members from all over the world of their studios sent these little messages. We have 2,800 messages right now that we're caring for. And on the corner of 7th Avenue and Greenwich Avenue, you can come and make a tile and hang it there with your message for the families. We put flowers out every weekend for a year, and people from all over the world come and say, what happened? What happened? What really happened? And everyone's very frustrated. We know the story they're telling us is not true. If you go to the internet and you start doing the most basic research, the BBC, Building 7 going down, how could they possibly report that 20 minutes before the building went down? There's someone else filming a policeman that's saying, clear the area, the building's coming down. Yet we as people, when we look at this information that we're trying to get out in the public, are called conspiracy theorists. We just had a big group here before us, a couple hundred people for, I don't know, women's equality or something. I'm sure it was a great cause. They had 9 news stations here, and I approached them all and said, I'm with Westview. I don't see any other press. Are you covering it? And they all took their cameras and said, we've got to go now. They don't want to cover this story. I was told that this went out on the PR Newswire, or one of the newswires. Yeah. 3,000, get it, 3,000 fake news outlets got this and are not here. And the reason I say they're fake is because they are not here. They are not asking the questions, and they are not our papers. They are not giving us the opportunity to look at the information as intelligent people and decide, that looks like a squib all the way down. Or, gee, you can go online and Google Building 7, controlled demolition, Building 7. Boop. I heard the Enron scandal was in that building and vanished with all that, along with other things. So we're wide awake, and we might look like a small group. A lot of people don't want to stand up here, and paint a little bullet on their back like, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe CNN, or I don't believe the Times. But the reality is there's a truth to be told, and these awesome, dedicated people are telling the truth. We've got the community paper behind us. We've got the 9/11 memorial behind us, and we have the truth behind us. So all of you people who are seeing this, put it out on your social media. Go to all the people that you know that are good and send it on to them, and let's see what we can make happen. Let's create a tsunami to cover up for the cover-up.
Do it for your kids.
Yeah, really.
Well said. Let's not underestimate the power of grassroots activists from around the country, around the world, to magnify what took place here today. Because it is of such significance that it will be impossible to minimize what took place. We have so much to be thankful for, to be proud of, to feel a great sense of accomplishment. And this is incredible work that was done, so that all who are concerned about exposing the incredible deception of the official story of 9/11 can take this and disseminate it far and wide. And when people go to lcfor911.org and see for themselves the grand jury petition and the exhibits, to know that the public now has the full body of evidence that has been compiled for all these years, that has been presented as part of this grand jury petition. The public now has full access. Please make use of it to the most highest possible extent. And all we can say is, let's continue to work towards the truth and continue to organize on all levels, local and nationally. From this point on, we can do many things to support the actions of the Lawyers Committee for 9/11 Inquiry, because that's what it's going to take. A very, very strong committed, informed public.
Yeah.
And that's what we can help to generate and to create the groundswell to support the work of this very, very committed team of lawyers. And with that, we want to thank everybody for being here today, and let the truth prevail.
Yes. Get empowered. Time for empowerment.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you all.